I don't think hair loss affects men as deeply as it does because men are vain. I think it affects men deeply because it forces awareness. For a lot of men, hair loss is the first visible reminder that time is moving forward. And most men are not emotionally prepared for that moment. Because aging usually doesn't happen dramatically, it happens quietly. Your sleep changes, recovery changes, stress accumulates, energy shifts, confidence changes subtly over time. But internally, you still feel like yourself. So when appearance starts changing too, it creates a very different kind of emotional reaction, especially for men. Because whether people admit it openly or not, appearance is heavily connected to masculine identity. Not in a narcissistic way, in a psychological way. How a man looks often affects how he carries himself, how confident he feels, how assertive he feels socially, how he feels in relationships, how he feels professionally. And when hair starts thinning or receding, a lot of men experience something they struggle to explain emotionally. It feels like losing familiarity with themselves. Not entirely, but enough to notice. And I think that's why so many men become emotionally affected by hair loss, even if they pretend not to care publicly. Because most men are taught to suppress concern around appearance. They're taught, just shave it. Don't worry about it. It's only hair. But internally, many men absolutely care. Because hair is tied to youth, vitality, energy, confidence, identity. And when it starts changing, it forces men to confront aging in a visible way. For some men, it's gradual. For others, it happens aggressively and early. But almost every man who experiences it understands the emotional moment where they first realize, this is actually happening. Usually it starts small. More hair in the sink, a thinner hairline in photos, more scalp visibility under light. And at first, most men ignore it. Not because they don't care, but because modern men tend to delay maintenance in almost every category of life. Sleep, stress, hormones, recovery, health screenings, mental health, hair loss. Most men wait until something feels urgent, and by then, the emotional impact has usually compounded too, because hair loss is rarely just about appearance. For many men, it becomes symbolic. It represents stress, neglect, burnout, aging, time moving faster, feeling disconnected from themselves. And I think that's why so many men suddenly become highly aware of their appearance after years of ignoring their health entirely. Hair loss becomes the visible sign that forces awareness, almost like an alarm system, a moment where a man realizes, I haven't really been maintaining myself consistently. That realization can become emotionally heavy, especially because modern life pulls men away from themselves constantly. Work, stress, screens, pressure, responsibility, performance. A lot of men spend years surviving instead of maintaining, and eventually the body reflects it externally too. That's why I think conversations around hair loss need to become more realistic and psychologically honest. Not shame-based, not fear-based, not vanity-driven, but honest. Because wanting to maintain your appearance is not shallow. Wanting to feel confident is not shallow. Wanting to recognize yourself in the mirror is not shallow. Those are deeply human experiences. And the men who usually age best understand something important earlier than everyone else. Maintenance matters, not perfection, not extremes, not obsession. Consistency. Small proactive decisions repeated over time. Better sleep, stress management, health awareness, earlier intervention, long-term thinking. That philosophy is deeply built into AZHM. We are not trying to create fear around aging. Aging is normal, but unnecessary acceleration is different. A lot of men are aging faster than they should because maintenance has disappeared from modern life. Everything has become reactive. Men wait until they feel terrible, wait until confidence collapses, wait until problems become severe. But earlier intervention usually changes outcomes dramatically, especially with hair loss. The earlier men pay attention, the more options they usually have. But beyond the physical side, I think the deeper goal is helping men stay connected to themselves, helping men maintain confidence, energy, identity, self-respect. Because most men don't actually want perfection. They just want to feel healthy, sharp, confident, and recognizable to themselves again. And I think that's a much more honest conversation.